The Saints bye week continues, but the questions remain. What will Dennis Allen do differently from Rob Ryan? Will the move change anything? Does this team have any chance to make a run toward a wild card berth in the mediocre NFC? Well, we'll get all the answers from Saints columnist Jeff Duncan up next in the Black and Gold Today. Welcome to the Black and Gold Today, sponsored by Cadillac of New Orleans. I'm your host who's counting all 11,000 minutes until Thanksgiving, Jim Derry. Well, just 2 weeks ago at this time, Houdats were back on their magic carpet, certain their dance to 4-4 would lead to 6-4 heading into the bye week with the Titans and Redskins next on the schedule. Instead, the team bumbled its way through those two games and were flat out embarrassed this past Sunday in our nation's capital by Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins and the Redskins. Well, what changed so quickly in such a short period of time? To find out, we bring in NOLA.com, the Times Picayune and sports columnist Jeff Duncan to get some more answers. And Dunk, what's up with this team?
Well, JD, I think more than anything we're seeing that this defense is not NFL caliber. They don't have enough elite players, and it's just a mess on that side of the ball. There's so many things wrong. And what's left is the Saints are left trying to win games strictly on the strength of Drew Brees' passing, the prolific offense that Sean Payton's had there over the years, and you just can't consistently do that. You can't expect to beat the New York Giants 52-49 every week.
Yeah.
And when the offense isn't firing on all cylinders, when they're not getting a few special teams plays like they did during that 3-game winning streak, this defense just can't stop anybody consistently enough for them to win.
Well, as we'll see in the extra point later, we'll talk about some defensive rankings. And in the past, they actually were able to be successful with just the offense as long as they could keep that ranking in the 20s, somewhere in the 22, 24. That seemed to be sort of the magic number, but no one can overcome 31, 32.
No, and also I think the offense isn't quite as dominant as it used to be. So the Saints are left really with one way to win games, offensively dominating, and you just can't do that consistently in the NFL. There's three aspects to the game, and the Saints really are mediocre at special teams. They're poor at defense, and they're right now above average on offense, but not as dominant as they were.
Well, let's get to the big news, and obviously that was the firing of defensive coordinator Rob Ryan. I can't imagine that you were surprised by the move, and does it change anything?
Well, I was surprised a little bit. If you'd asked me a week earlier if he'd be fired, I'd say no, they'd wait till the end of the season. But Sunday's performance against the Redskins left them really with no other option. That was such a debacle. And it was such a regression in execution and effort that something had to be done. I think Sean Payton had reached the end of his rope. He'd run out of patience. He mentioned, the alignment errors, the substitution problems, 10 men on the field on defense. We've seen that already a couple times this season. These are just what you get down to is coordinator problems. Those are coordinator execution problems. And he had to make a change. You could make a case that Rob Ryan was a fall guy here, a scapegoat, but clearly I think something had to be done, and I don't think this is the last of the changes. I think he's going to make some more personnel changes during this break.
Well, I don't think necessarily that anyone denies whether changes should have been made, but why would he come out in front of the cameras yesterday and tell the media and the public that he's absolutely still a coach on this team, and then come out 3 hours later or 4 hours later or whatever it was and say on his radio show, yeah, we have fired him?
Well, the Saints did not handle that situation well at all. That was a classic PR disaster. I mean, the timing wasn't right, but internally they knew that Rob Ryan was going to be fired. Sean Payton knew.
Of course.
They should have canceled the timing of the press conference, moved it back to maybe mid-afternoon, when they could have addressed this, and it would have served everybody's purposes, the fans, the media, Sean Payton and the staff, and Rob Ryan, who was going to be let go. It was poorly handled, and it came across, I think, very badly for the Saints.
Well, let's get on to what do we know about Dennis Allen, and what can we expect over the next 6 weeks, or 7 weeks, including the bye week. But the last 6 games of the season, what do you expect from the defense now that Dennis Allen's in charge?
Well, I don't think there's going to be any dramatic changes or conspicuous changes. I don't think Saints fans are going to notice a big difference. What I think Sean Payton is hoping for is that some of the self-inflicted wounds will be eliminated. The alignment problems, the defensive play call problems, 10 men on the field, substitution issues that are strictly organizational issues that were preventing this team, frankly, from being able to, to play the game fast the way they need to be able to play. This team defensively is not as bad as they've been playing. They have better talent, but they were getting in their own way a lot of times, and I think that goes directly back to Rob Ryan, repeated mistakes. And so I think Dennis Allen, who's a very well-organized guy, and knows what Sean Payton wants. I think that's very important. I think they're going to eliminate and not be as sloppy on defense as they've been in the past under Rob Ryan, and that was a hallmark of his defenses in Dallas and Oakland. He always had a lot of big plays, a lot of aggressive plays, but he also gave up a lot of big plays.
Quickly, do you think that this team has any chance to make any sort of run to be 8-8 or better?
I think the ceiling is 8-8 right now. I'll be surprised if they can get any higher than that. I mean, they're just not consistent enough or talented enough right now. And I worry a little bit about the morale and the confidence in the direction from the locker room. So I think there's a lot of questions to be answered.
Well, in the coming weeks, we'll obviously be talking about future direction and personnel moves. That's going to be the next thing that we have to tackle.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some during this bye week, and it wouldn't surprise me if it starts with number 39, Brandon Browner. That has to be addressed. Jim, I don't know what you have to do to get benched in the NFL. I don't know how you could play any more poorly on the field or act more poorly off the field.
Or just do more dumb things.
Right. At some point, that's an issue the Saints have to address.
But it's our fault. Thanks, Dunk.
All right.
We'll be right back with Wednesday's Extra Point.
What's one of the nicest things that comes with your new Cadillac from Cadillac of New Orleans? 0% interest.
Get 0% interest on all new Cadillacs, now at Cadillac of New Orleans. New owners, new attitude, on Lime Street in Rye in Metairie.
For today's Extra Point, let's depress you even more with some overall defensive stats from the Sean Payton era. Couldn't wait to fire Rob Ryan, you say? Well, that's what you said about Steve Spagnuolo. It's what many of you said about Greg Williams. And do you even remember Gary Gibbs? Well, over the past 10 seasons, how bad has it been defensively? Only twice since Sean Payton has been coach have the Saints finished in the top 10 in overall defense. And they've only finished in the top 20 one other time. Over the past 5 seasons, they've been better than 24th once. It was in Rob Ryan's first season in 2013 when they finished 4th. Also under Sean Payton, the Saints have never, and I repeat, never, finished higher than 16th in rushing yards allowed. Well, I guess the next question I ask is, when do fans stop blaming defensive coordinators and start putting the onus on the men who hire them? Well, we'll leave it at that. Make sure to join us on Thursday for a special Black and Gold Today. We'll have Harry Houdat in studio to break down the Saints. Who is Harry Houdat, you ask? Well, you have to come back tomorrow and find out. See y'all. I'll show you a picture.